You let me drive for 3 seconds and look what I did.
Hey, Michelle, when we get reports.
No, that's not your fault.
Could you give
Clearly
us a
something with the
cash
file.
basis and an accrual? We should be able to run the reports either way.
It's not really.
I run 3 businesses on QuickBooks.
Let's,
Well, you can run the report function on either one. I'm like 99%.
okay, it is,
But yes, I agree, you have to set them up one way or the other, but I think you can run the report either way. And it'd just be interesting, it'd be interesting to see in the accrual, like if we're in a, you know, if we're now, it would like project out a little bit. Hey, Bob.
How you doing?
some,
It's going.
No, I'm just asking. Yeah, totally. Bob, you're looking extra dapper today. I don't know what it is. I think it's the purple tie.
insert function.
Thought I'd change it up a little bit.
I like it. Don't stop.
Trying to expand my horizons.
I'm not sure my opinion's the one you want, but whatever.
Expand my horizons. What is this copy to me? Chief?
Let us,
2027.
let's see. Let's see. Action worker, multiple selections.
It's actually working remarkably well.
Uh,
It's toasting here. Yeah.
So do you all think you'll need more time? Like, if you think you're
Okay, let's see, we're gonna do, this is not,
on Teresa won't be here today.
projections, wow.
I almost did. I said, you know what?
All of us almost bailed.
You did too? Oh my gosh.
It's been a real day.
Same here, yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't looking good for a while.
Everything's going up in flames. Oh, yeah. Or the minute, you know, or the second. Yeah, I got it. I understand.
Okay, let's
Get
see,
rid of the desktop.
How are you, sir?
desktop,
There you go, yeah.
okay, we're gonna see if maybe this, see, when you click on, see how it's creating,
Yeah,
it's like a corrupt file.
It is, yeah. So, what-
Okay, so what we can do, hold on, let's go, file.
Two and a half.
Why not?
First twos. Terrible. People say terrible. I say terrible.
so
Feels
what
like
were,
it
what
feels
what are
like
our options if, you know, there seems to be some trouble, the file might be corrupt, where it's not allowing us to do some of what we're trying to do.
She is.
So what's our, plan B?
So I would say that you analyzed it, but you weren't able to, analyze it, you weren't able to complete it in the way you wanted to,
That's correct.
so you can, you know, have it for the November meeting.
Yeah, which, that works.
You know, by the time, yeah.
Is that the final deadline? What's the de-
We should have it like now,
Or what, should we try to maybe,
so we could definitely, well, the thing is,
Well,
that the board
if
has
we-
to approve it, right? So if they don't approve it
can it,
tonight,
can it be done, does it have to be done in a regular meeting, that approval?
yes, by everybody, because you're making a recommendation to be approved by everybody.
Okay, so let's see if we can look. It's,
I don't know
nah.
if you guys are gonna like go off of that, particularly, right?
But it's all right, yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Well, we have 2023. It literally won't even let me
Yeah, this isn't
It's
working out.
it's a corrupt file.
Yeah.
But we have 2023. This is where we ended up. What is this, actual to date and proposed 2022?
Mhm.
Yeah, the file is corrupt.
But what we can do is, what we can do in advance, maybe Chrissy, we try to get the file of work, I can stub it in and just send it over to you guys, and you could say, this is wrong, or say yea or nay. Want to just do it like that instead of having a meeting?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, because we have the information that we went through in depth
Yep.
last year, and we have the proposal for 2023,
That's
and I
correct.
don't know that, I mean, we can look through the assumptions.
Hmm?
Yeah, are we allowed to,
Your discussion has to be public, so like, create the file with the figures and then send it to the three of you, and then have it, you know, ready. Like if Chris is gonna be the one to say, like, this is what I think it should be,
Right.
then
Well, what we,
you can wait to vote on, like, as a committee, you can wait till the November meeting to present.
yeah,
Why
but
don't
what
we-
we can do is, we could do it in order, though. Like I could start it, send it to Chrissy, send it to Mike.
Why don't we export this data onto a Google Doc, we'll share it, and then we can all comment using the comment function?
but we're
Okay.
not, we have to comment in public.
No, I mean for the purposes of the spreadsheet. And then once we've done that work, we can bring that in and review it as a committee. Be a lot easier. Sorry, when I say comment, I'm just talking about the Google spreadsheet function.
And then you could also share it with Michelle, so Michelle, if you don't understand something, Michelle can
So we can, just off of this, though, we can briefly talk about what we had proposed for 2023, because we can still see it.
Correct.
So, charges for services, do we remember?
Why, what was that? That's an anomaly for sure.
What do we put in charges for services? Application fees. Okay, that's
So
fine.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we held it at 1,500. We've gotten actual to date more than that. So you can see, Mike, different years are different, have been different amounts. And it just depends on, we really can't, we have no idea who's gonna apply or who's not gonna apply. So we kept it at a basic
Yeah.
1,500. And that kind of changes based off of. The next line, rental and financing income, that's based off of what we, what we
Yep.
get already. So, we had projected, what, 159, I guess last year actual, we got 168.
Yeah.
So most likely, we can take at least the 168, and project for, the next year's, although it's interesting, we proposed a higher amount. Is there something additionally we took on, as income, as rental income? I don't think so, right? Or was there an escalation in one of the rentals, maybe? A bump? Yeah. Okay. So we can take this amount, this 168, which is just purely what our rental is. The other operating income, I believe we had put, this was the number that we had used, the 25,000, the number that we had used for, if we were gonna close on, right? Wasn't that if we were gonna close on any, that was
Now that you say
additional,
it,
additional
that
income?
sounds, yeah, because we don't have any before or after, so we tacked it to some current event at the time.
Right, current event, we
Yeah.
thought maybe we were gonna close on
We thought we were gonna
the-
close, and so we
on
subbed it in.
Scobie. Yeah, so the 25,000 from previous, for proposed 2022, we thought maybe we were gonna close on Scobie, which we did not. So, proposed for 2023, well, we're gonna be closing potentially on the hotel in 2023, and no, just on, hello, In 2022. And also 141 Washington, 191.
That you guys are not even up to the public hearing stage.
No, Philippe's building, I'm sorry.
Philippe 104.
104, sorry. That closed already. So we don't necessarily have anything on the books that's gonna close in 2023.
No, if that closed,
Huh? Potential, but, I mean, these two things we didn't necessarily know at the time we did the budget were gonna close in 2022 either, so,
That might be 2020, that might be next year, 2020, but that's just the sales tax,
I don't think,
so it'll be very.
I don't think there's any impending.
any impending,
Right, this
okay,
year.
so we can leave, so far we can leave our 2023 almost as is, except we can increase our rental and financing income to reflect what it did for actual last year. We have investment earnings, which are what they are because interest rates were so low, we can assume that maybe they're a little bit higher.
Yeah.
We had gotten to 2,300 in years past. 2023, interest rates should be higher, so.
They should be.
What do we want to go back to 2,000 for that?
We could, well, yeah, we could round it, we could make
Or-
it 2,000.
2,000 or 2,200?
Yep.
We never had anything in these other
No,
columns.
so we'll follow suit. Salaries and wages,
We're in this one here.
yep.
Salaries and wages.
So what
I think
the-
that was based on a percentage, right, a 3%. We should maybe discuss if that's more, we had, I think, put everything in a 3% inflation rate, Mike, but we should maybe talk about, given what current inflation is, reflecting that to be, what current, to keep up, with current inflation at least.
Our service contracts,
No, salaries and wages, yeah.
no, I know, but salaries and wages, service contracts, and I guess not the others, but do we have those readily available to review? Any of that?
Her contract?
Well, just all of them in general.
So salaries and wages just includes these guys?
No, I know, and professional service contracts, that's what I'm,
Oh, professional service contracts,
because I would imagine those are gonna be subject to some increases as well.
that would be like Kelly, the attorney,
Sure.
Jacobowitz, Skubitz. Do we have any other service the accountants?
Yep.
I don't think we have many contracts though, besides him, besides Jacobowitz. Whoever our attorneys are and whoever our accountants are.
Looking to do the logo thing? Professional service.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be like a salary. Well, I guess that would go into professional service contracts, the logo. Yeah, but that's only a few $1,000s, right? So we should discuss this one. The professional service contracts need to change. You want me to go back so you can see the other ones we talked about? I think charges for services, maybe we'll leave the same. Rental and financing income should go up to the 168. Interest earnings should probably go up to what, do we think, 2,000? I mean, interest is,
So for rental, the one thing, we want to round it up to 170?
yeah, that's fine.
And then, no other operating income, we just stepped through that.
Yeah,
Investment earnings we'll go back to about 2,000.
2,000 level. And then we'll talk about salaries and wages, yeah, $2,000. We'll talk about salaries and wages relative to inflation. And then also professional service contracts, which we should, let's see, we projected 35, we're currently at 52 this year. We proposed for 2022 75. We thought we might be close to being done with all of our big legal issues by this year.
We
But I
did.
don't think that will happen, so maybe we should probably drag that 75 over to here. What do you think of 75 for professional? That would be attorneys, fees, accountants.
And where are we running now?
We are
52?
at 52. We were at 49 the year before.
As actual for the year, we're at 52, so we're a little above, but yeah.
Do you wanna just drag CPI
Yeah.
across both of them? Just do
Wow.
like 8% on both numbers?
Well, so we're not at the end of the year yet, so we've already spent 52. This year, professional services really is dependent on the legal, dependent on the armory, dependent on,
So maybe we bring 75 across. Then,
yeah, because we don't know where this year's going to end up.
Right.
We may end up close at our 75 projected,
right.
because we still have a whole quarter left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but these are low compared to actuals. We
Yeah.
have a couple of.
I would agree, bring the 75 across. The next line, supplies and materials.
Calves and ankles, all.
So supplies and materials, we spent about 1,200 the year before. We're at about 600 this year, maybe put an even 1,000 in.
Yep.
Other operating expenditures. Okay.
Administrative expenses, file storage, Zoom subscription, postage. We have in there PPP grants, 88.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. The PPE ends this year though, doesn't it? Or last year, it ended 2021.
And do we even see it in actual?
So we're at 4,700 this
47?
year. We projected maybe 50. I think that was possibly because we didn't know what the PPE was going to turn out to be. Other operating expenditures.
Yeah, she can tell you what that.
Oh, shit. It's Elizabeth.
So we used 25,000 all the way out. So we could probably leave it at 25.
So you want to use, what, we spent 15, 16,
15, 16.
we
and what's year to date?
projected, this was because of the PPE, so maybe we keep it at, what, 15?
Want to go down to 15?
Right, because we don't, well, or you want to put it at 16, because that's what we spent the year before, you want to put it
Or-
at 17?
Or 20, I was going to say 20.
20, okay, because of inflation.
Yeah.
Well, because insurance is in
Oh,
there,
you
right?
wanna-
Is our
You wanna-
expenditure, the sidewalks out yet? No, right? Our expenditure above the sidewalks is not included in this yet.
No, that's non-operating expenditures is,
You guys
Did
planned,
this report before the
correct, but remember last year, I think we put them on RFP, we had gotten that, was it this year? But you knew that that figure was coming,
yeah.
even because we've been in court about it. So that should be planned for.
Very good.
All right.
How'd you get in?
Okay, so I agree, we can put 20 in.
Okay. Because that's everything.
And that's, well, that's for unless do we want to keep, we had 25, no, well, 20 or 25, what do you think for other operating expenditures? That includes insurance, that includes subscriptions, that includes, that did include the PPE, which we don't have anymore. We generally had projected our budget around 25,000 a year. We want to just keep it at 25,000 instead of 20?
We could.
Hey, sorry, you downstairs? Okay, I'm gonna have Cher run down and give it to you, and she can
Chase out
take the other
insurance
piece.
expense as it's online.
Oh, okay, let me get her to come down, okay, bye.
What was ever there?
So
Can I ask you to do me a favor?
you're going to do the key?
No, she's gonna, thank you.
We're going to leave it at 25 then.
Okay,
So
Okay.
we're saying
I have
the
yours,
adjustments
you know,
to the budget
right here. Oh,
for this year, so we're saying,
we'll leave that. This goes up to 170.
100
Rental and financing income,
charges for services is flat at 1,500.
yeah,
Rental income, we're saying 170,000.
yeah,
Other operating remains zero. Investment earnings, we raising to 2,000. And then the rest remains zero. And then expenditures, salaries, we kind of table that.
Salaries and earnings, yep.
I'm sure that was a project.
Other, and then professional service contracts, we kept at 75.
75.
Supplies and materials,
We said 1,000.
we kept at 1,000,
And
okay.
then other operating, we said 25.
25, okay.
So where did we bottom out on? The only one we're not clear on is salaries.
Right, we don't have any grants and donations. What else do we have? Payment of principal, we don't have that. Are there any categories that we're missing?
Okay.
Okay. And what is that normally held under? Other operating expenditures? Okay, so we hold that, we've spent 4,700 for the year. Last year we spent 16. So, I think we projected to keep that, we budgeted for 25,000, so that should be sufficient to cover, right? Okay. Okay, and then this non-operating expenditures, we don't have anything else in there. Huh? Well, we can. We don't call anything out, we haven't, except for grants and donations, which we did. Well, but then that was over last year anyway, so I don't think we're not projecting any other necessary grants. Okay. What do you feel about this one? That's Mike.
To be
Shelley?
honest with you, based on the expense budget, I would just say, let's wait the actuals to date out 12 months. Just, formulate it out 12 months.
Well, so we still have, it's not necessarily, because are we on cash basis or accrual? Accrual. So, we have another quarter, we still don't know what's gonna come in.
No, that's what I'm saying. Let's just, take the average, wait it out 12 months, and then take the average between the 2 years and run it through CPI. So,
Okay, what do you project CPI is gonna be?
Yeah.
let's just say it's 8, right? That's 8% year over year.
Every year?
No, for this year,
For this year?
because that's what it's been.
Well, I think the one where we track, the one where we really have to consider is the salaries, because the rest of them were pretty close.
Yep. That's the
I think we're
last.
pretty close
That's the only one we haven't settled yet.
to what has happened actually in the past and what, I mean, because this is a general budget. I mean, we put this in for a few years as a general budget. We just don't want to under budget.
Right.
Right. So that's why we kind of round things.
Yep.
Round things to kind of the nearest biggest.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if we do it the
Yeah.
way,
Quick question, do you think you need a little bit more time?
we do.
Okay. Maybe not more time so that we could revisit this for the next meeting?
We can. We're going to have to.
158
Okay.
We're going to have to.
plus 8%. if it
We
lands
just
at
wanted to try to
158.
get, while she was here, to make sure that we weren't missing any categories. No. I think we've gotten all the categories. I think we,
That was the last one, right, Chrissy? The salaries?
Salaries, yeah.
So using the method Mike suggested by the average of the 2 years and then using the 8%, it comes to 158.
yeah.
Yeah, but it might be a little high.
it's probably high, but I'd rather
Okay.
put it high than
How
low.
high over do we want to go?
What are we currently at?
94?
Well, so for the budget?
Yeah. What's our actual?
Let's see, our actual last year was,
43.
43. We're currently at 63.
Which is
Right.
definitely gonna be,
So we'll probably end up
So that's
Do you know where the
912.
salaries will end up for the end of the year? 990 probably?
through September, yeah, so it would be,
Through October 5th specifically.
It's about, she said it's about 7,000 a month. So this is through the,
63,591.
right, the
times
taxes,
12
yep, yep.
Divided by 9.
And this
84,
is through,
85,000.
Okay. so, and then take that and
So then,
times.
that was 100,
So take,
Maybe we could shoot for like 6:15?
we're, hold on.
No,
Mm.
just
90 times,
spare some time to, you're already here.
maybe, we're on this we're on the salaries,
so we can get to there. This is where we are times like 8%.
mhm.
Yes, so do we want to carry an even 100?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
comfortable.
Sure.
Okay, sweet.
So that's it. So it's 100,000.
Yeah. Okay,
That's everything.
that's everything.
Wow, I'm a little surprised, all right. So what format,
So,
meeting,
well, we're only trying to do this because technically it's supposed to be in Paris this month. We were having technical difficulties. The file was corrupt, so we couldn't actually input it in here. Well,
Yeah.
it was a combination of the two files. I was cutting and pasting, and
Yeah,
now
part of it was-
everything's highlighted, so it won't let us do anything. But just theoretically, we wanted to get, while Michelle was here, everything conceptually. So Cher, we conceptually, I think, agree on a proposed budget for next year. We don't have it in the worksheet because because Excel is not cooperating. And then for the 5-year, do you need both the 5-year and the 1-year?
The resolution
Has both of them in it?
so this,
Okay.
we have to do it next meeting.
Okay, so we will do it next meeting. We have, though, for everybody
But this-
watching.
but this is,
We have come to, I think we've come to a consensus with the 1-year, and we will discuss the 5-year over the next few days, and hopefully by next meeting, be able to
We'll be able to vote on it in November.
give you the 5-year as well. Okay?
Yeah, you'll be able to make your recommendations.
Thank you, guys, sorry.
So, do we gavel
just
out,
had
or-
some
Just
technical
leave it, because then
difficulties,
they'll
and
stop
it's
the
been
recording
one heck of a
altogether.
day. Sorry, and Adam was very nice enough to let.
No,
Let's
that was,
just
thank you,
computer.
that was very helpful.
Yeah. No, the file worked great. Somewhere in there, all of a sudden, we started trying to insert, and it wouldn't let us type, it wouldn't let us, and we were like, we started messing with it for a while, and then it was like, okay, stop touching the keyboard. Walk away from the keyboard. Let's just conceptually talk about this. Yeah, it wouldn't even let me save.
That was
Which
rough.
is why I was trying to cut and paste it into a new workbook.
Yep. We did what we could.
All right, I guess we could get,
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you for your help. Much appreciated.
so this is the whole crew for today, right?
So,
Yeah.
All right, I guess we could hit this and we could get the official, oh, you gotta close yours out?
sure.
Don't gavel because then
No, don't gavel
said
because
not
it's
to
recording. She
gavel.
said she'll cut and she'll
Okay.
do that.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, understood.
Okay, so
Thank you.
let's welcome everybody for the October 17th, 2022 Newburgh IDA meeting. And we're going to start with a roll call. So we have Gregory Nato,
Here.
Johnny Pearson.
Here.
We have Christina Amato.
Here.
And we have Mike Kelly and Adam Pollock.
Here.
All right. We have Mr. Robert McClellan and Sherry Vickers. Okay, so on to, there was proof or the meeting sent out for today's meeting. I guess if there's anything regarding to that, there's nothing draft of the meeting. Okay. So then, readings of, so I need a motion for the approval of the minutes for the previous meetings of September 19th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
So we got, that was Mike Kelly.
Yanni, seconds.
Okay, Johnny a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we do seem to have a very short agenda today, so treasurer's report.
It's in my
What we
papers.
lack in this agenda, we made up for in our budget
Enthusiasm.
timing. Sorry, guys.
Do we have it? Do you have it? Yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Okay, the treasurer's report for activity month of September 2022. The opening balance, the idea has, was $328,559.48. During the course of the month, there were total deposits made in the amount of $40,974.29. Over disbursements in the amount of $11,162.32 for a closing balance on September 30th, 2022 of $358,371.45. Payroll expenses were made in the amount of, the opening balance, I apologize. The opening balance of the payroll fund was $42,546.55. Closing balance, $35,599.03. The applications fund, the balance remained unchanged in the month of September in the amount of $14,137.50. In the lesser tenant account, same dynamic, the same balance beginning on September 1st as on closing on September 30th, and that's $2,400. We did, however, in the month of September, in the money market account, earn $154.43. So the opening balance was $751,555.61, closing on September 30th of $751,710.04.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that the committee approve the treasurer's report.
I make a motion, Chrissy.
You need a second?
Gregory seconds.
So Chrissy was, well,
Yeah, Chrissy.
okay,
Yep,
Chrissy then I.
Yep.
No,
Chrissy
that-
then Mark.
Gregory. Yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We also need a resolution to pay the bills.
I'd love a motion from someone to pay our bills.
I'll make a motion as well to pay the bills. Chrissy?
Yanni,
second.
seconds. Oh,
No, you win. Always racing.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we have the resolutions for the 1 year and the 5-year budget approval.
Which we are going to have to postpone until next meeting.
Okay,
We are very close.
okay.
We just have not had an opportunity to meet until before this meeting and
Okay.
technical difficulties.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
we'll be tabling that.
It
for
was
the
good
next
progress
meeting.
made, though.
Good progress, yes.
I think there's a consensus on the proposal for the first year. It's just, we need to dig into the 5, and we'll be ready.
So just basically the actual formality of putting it together is the part of this, okay. All right, well, thank you for the update. And then,
You, can I just ask, you can't take a, if we pass it around, we can't make a recommendation and a vote without, before the meeting, so you guys can get it into Paris? before then? Do we all have to come together? It can't be like an email thing or a phone thing or a Zoom thing? No? Okay. Sorry.
It's over.
Sorry, your pigeon.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, nope. So I guess under the treasurer's report, we have to address the resolution 2022-101702 for payment of real property taxes.
Yes.
Which,
Bring the mic closer to you, Ron.
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, okay. So first, I want to know if anybody has any particular questions. I know, I think from my point, it is a pretty large sum. We haven't really made anything this large, any payment this large, but it's something that is due to, it's our responsibility. If anybody feels that they need further explanations or anything like that, I would, with keeping in mind the timeline that we're working with, which is that we have to pay this by the end of the month, then we could, I don't know, maybe get some sort of meeting done, or maybe call Kelly, which is the attorney that helps us with this particular situation. From the way it looks, it's something that, we are dealing with. Our positioning here is, this is a claim that we have to this property, right? So that means that the taxes that weren't paid by the county technically have to be covered by us. There's open conversations, as you know. So what's the happenings in the back end with this? Kelly explained that via email, some of the conversations being had with the county. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to this, but, bottom line, it's kind of falls in our lap. So, any thoughts, anything?
Well, maybe maybe it's such a large amount, we should just talk about it a little bit
Okay.
before. So Bob and Chair, for the meeting, it's, the county had been paying those taxes for a number of years, but then stopped in 2021 and 2. That's correct?
So Bob isn't our attorney for this. This is
Yeah.
Jacobitz and Gubitz.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kelly, that would help us out with
And
I
this
forgot
is
about
Kelly.
that.
And were you able to speak to her today?
So I reached out to Kelly, and to be honest, full disclosure, I reached out today. So
Okay.
it's not, she didn't have enough time to get back to me. And I would have loved for her to come, but just in the case that anybody had questions, she's the one who has the depth of knowledge of this, and
Yep.
also is more current about the conversations that are happening at the county level. So I personally don't have any other information other than what's been emailed to everybody, right? So I'm going off of that. But also, I've been sitting here in having the same conversations with Kelly, hearing the same things, which is there's some good news, potential positive outcomes for the IDA, but in the meantime, there's this huge
We have to pay our.
bill that we have to cover. So, personally,
I think if we're all expressing sort of our opinions of it, it is a large amount, but I think it is an amount that is sort of a necessary evil to continue to pursue a path that we have been down for a very long time, and an outstanding litigation that has been going on for years, even before a lot of us have been here. And it is a large amount, but I think it is also necessary in continuing to prove our case that the IDA is responsible for this building, that we maintain our position with it, and we are hopeful that this is not for naught, but I think we don't have very much time to If we don't, then we're essentially kind of throwing out a lot of years that have been put behind this and a lot of funds behind this great big, this great big ball of what has become this project right now. And hopefully, we're nearing the end, or getting close to nearing the end of this.
I do have a question. Can you remind us what the penalty is if we don't pay on time?
Oh, I don't know what the penalty is, but you can see in the line items what the penalty has been each time, like each, time it's been detailed. The only thing I could say that could be done is if you all don't want to do this tonight, you could table it, but you would need to do an emergency meeting before the month is over to, like if you needed to digest it a little bit more. But I think I sent this last week, right? It was because I knew that this was not an
Yeah.
easy thing to.
I'm not involved in this, unfortunately, but could I suggest that the board consider going into an executive session very quickly to consider a couple of issues? Because there's potential litigation involved, and
Right.
Okay.
so that would be my
I
recommendation
make a
right now.
motion to go into executive session
I
to
second.
discuss potential litigation.
That was Chrissy. So we need a second?
I second.
That was Adam.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Remove myself? Oh, executive.
No,
I went to the officers, right.
But I think even if you have a conflict of interest, you can stay. You don't have a conflict of interest, though, right? You're a board
I
member.
always have conflict. You have to pay out that kind of money. No, I actually don't.
It's a cloud of conflict.
I have a conflict of consciousness.
Yeah,
I'm feeling conflict
I
right
know
now.
that feeling. I definitely know that feeling. We were all discussing, each, as Cher came down to get each one of us, it was like,
Test.
There we go.
All right. We'll be asking for more attorney, further explanation, guidance on the matter. All right, I guess we're going to move on to, at this point, Chairman's report. I actually have nothing to report. Everything that basically we're talking about has been what we've been in our emails, so nothing new to report there. So we can move on to the council report.
Thank you. Just to update from last meeting, 104 Washington did close at the end of last month, so that has been concluded. Scobie Drive, no update on Scobie Drive. We have reached out to DEC directly to get some updates because the extension ends at the end of the year, and we don't seem to be getting anywhere. So I will hopefully have better news next month to report on that one. And the hotel project was supposed to close this week. It's been extended. Their closing has been extended through the 14th of November, but we are trying to close our transaction as well as their purchase by November 4th. So 2 weeks. It's been delayed because of some issues on both sides. And then the resolution that we needed, that is before you later in the meeting, was one reason why we also extended the potential closing on the transaction. But all the documents have been prepared, drafted, edited, commented on. They should be in good shape by the end of this week. Yes.
The IDA is going to close on November 4th, and then they're closing on November 14th.
It's going to be simultaneous on the 4th.
Oh, it will be
Everything will be simultaneous.
Oh, okay.
We cannot close on
was just
our
gonna say, I
docks
don't know
until
how we
they
can
take
close it.
title. So it will be simultaneously.
Okay, sorry, I thought I heard the 14th in there.
Yep.
I was mistaken.
Their extension is through the 14th,
Oh, okay.
but we don't want to wait that long. We're ready to go. It would actually be next week, but their attorney is in Montana, I think, hunting next week. So.
Okay, is that all from?
That's it. The only other one was Lake Street, which I know the executive director already sent out an email about. We appeared on your behalf, and the matter was resolved.
Okay. All right, thank you for that, Bob. And then on to our executive director's report.
As you know, the sidewalk has been continually being repaired over there at the Armory, 145 Broadway. The contractor emailed me today saying that they had their final inspection and that it was approved. I want to see that letter before we remit payment to them. So, we'll have the check ready, and then I'll wait for that formal documentation to pay for the final payment, and then hopefully that's cleared up and we resolve that issue. I wanted to let you know that I've rescheduled the hearing for the City Club for the sales tax exemption that they'll be receiving for that project, so that will likely be at the November board meeting, November 21st. Unless that date does not work out for somebody, I guess now is a good time to ask. November 21st, I think that's Thanksgiving week. If there's any reason why any board members don't think that they would be here, or Bob,
I will be here.
okay, so that would work for everyone. I just wanted to confirm that as well.
You rescheduled the hearing for what?
For our November 21st board meeting. So just for the sake of simplicity, we'll have the hearing before the board meeting, then have the board meeting for the sales tax exemption. Then as an update, I reissued the RFP for the logo design. I let previous applicants know that they were welcome to apply. Also, some board members gave me recommendations of local graphic designers who'd be interested in applying. If you have not reached out to me to give me somebody, let me know. You can forward it to them. I can forward it to them. But, just know that we're looking at a December 1st deadline. And then for 191 Washington Street, the school, they're still amending their application. I have no idea when you would see something next from them, perhaps next month, but the way that would work is they will officially amend their application, submit it to the board, and then we would resend those figures to the firm that does the cost-benefit analysis, and then that's what you would use to analyze and provide to the public before any kind of formal public hearing. And that's it.
So this resolution, in connection with drafting the documents that, for the closing coming up, we noticed a few just housekeeping matters that we wanted to clear up, really over an abundance of caution to make sure that the record is clear. One issue was the mortgage recording tax exemption. So if you recall, when just before, on the day that the matter was approved on February 16th, there was a letter that came in from the applicant that provided new numbers for the project based on new costs, new financing. We picked up on those numbers in the resolution, except for the mortgage recording tax. His financing changed, and he's now going for a larger loan. And while we knew that, and it was disclosed at the board meeting in February, and his letter is part of your approval. In the resolution itself, when we drafted it, kept it at the $92,000 for the exemption, and it actually is increased to $235,725, which is the 1.05% mortgage recording tax that's in effect in Orange County. So again, just an abundance of caution to clear up the record to make sure that that's the correct number for your total approval of the financial assistance. Then if you turn to the exhibit that's on the resolution, the way that we draft your approving resolutions is we have an Exhibit A, which sets forth what your expected benefits are to the community, and then Exhibit B, which is the recapture events, when there's a default, if these things don't happen, and you can get potentially the financial assistance back. We do it this way so that these exhibits then become part of what's called the Uniform Project Benefit Agreement, and then there's no question. The Exhibit A is attached, the Exhibit B is attached, and there's no question because this was part of the approving resolution. Because of time being what it is, and there's been, 8 months since the approval, Section 1, which provided that if they didn't start the construction within 30 months or complete the construction within, initially it was 24 months, you could recapture the recapture the benefits. I'm sorry, it was 12 months originally. Let me just double check. I'm trying to do this from memory, and I shouldn't do that. Right, 12 months. So originally we had that they had to acquire and finish construction within 12 months of the date of the approving resolution. That clearly is not going to happen. That would be February of 2023. So we've increased that to 30 months from the date of the approving resolution. So 30 months from February of 2022, so that they need to acquire and complete the construction of the building within that 30-month period. If they don't, it's a recapture event. You can claw back all of the benefits potentially. The other change is in Section 2, which if they if they fail to complete the project, initially it was within 24 months, we simply increase that another 6 months to 30 months. So trying to be consistent in the two recapture events. And it's more because of the time involved and the fact that according to their attorney, he will not start construction until December or January at this point. So, and it's at least a 18-month job. That's the only changes that we're requesting. Happy to take any questions.
Where is Exhibit A? Do we have
Exhibit A
that?
is not changing. It's part of the original resolution,
Go
but
back
we're
and
not
look
changing
at it.
Exhibit A.
Okay.
The benefits are the benefits.
Okay.
And your Exhibit A, the benefits included creation of permanent jobs, up to 61 full-time and 13 indirect jobs, tax exemptions, creation of construction employment, 67 direct and 43 indirect within, for the first 2 years, 29 million in private sector investment, creation of 1.7 million in new revenues for the city, primarily because of sales tax after it's open and other taxes, attraction of new customers. It's an adaptive reuse of vacant structures, creation of regional wealth, it aligns with local planning, promotes walkable community areas, eliminates blight. The city officials were primarily in support. It's a historic building that's being reused, and it's also bringing in potential new tourism for the Washington site and the waterfront.
So the job preparation that was mentioned back during the public hearings in terms of working with, I think, Suniat Hospitality, is that in there somewhere?
So that's an Exhibit B.
Okay.
Okay, that's a recapture event, so if you turn to Exhibit B, number 14, if they fail to use best efforts to establish an intern and training program with Orange County Community College and other workforce development or training programs within serving Newburgh residents for hospitality, food and beverage within 24 months of commencement of construction. Okay? So we didn't change that because within 24 months of their construction commencement, A, they believe they should be finished, but B, they have to start that program and have that established before they open up. That was the goal.
So one of the major changes here is going to be the time. That goes from 12 months to 30 months. Now, would you say that that jump in time is a reasonable time extension, because it's almost 3 times the original agreed upon time?
Right. So that was a combination of the delay, because initially they thought they would close in March and then start in the spring. So right now they're not closing until November. It's unlikely, it depends on weather, but it's unlikely they're going to start before January. So they would have already been in default by the time,
This timing the clock already started on that 12 months.
That's right.
Yeah, so we've been delaying and closing.
Well, we have not been, they have been, for a variety of reasons, okay? But council's point to me, which was reasonable, is we'll already be in default by the time we know that when we close, we're not going to meet this condition, okay? So it was 18 months construction period. So, we added 6 months just to make sure that we had a sufficient time.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
This is a 12 or 15-year pilot, or?
This was, I think, 12 years. 12-year pilot.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so I guess I'd need a motion for the resolution amending certain provisions for the resolution number 2022021603, the Grant Street Newburgh property project.
So moved.
That was Mike Kelly. I need a second.
I second. Gregory?
All right, all in favor?
We'll do a
Need
roll call.
Need a roll
Oh,
call.
we need a roll call for this.
Colin Ramos,
Yes.
Christina Amato. Michael Kelly. Adam Pollock,
Yes.
Gregory Nato,
Yes.
Teresa Priester is absent, and Robin Yanya Pearson.
Yes, and just, there was an A added to Robin there, so, in that little checkbox thing. Robina.
Oh, is there like a misspelling, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm looking at this here.
Oh, okay,
That
that's a
might be
different
something
thing,
else.
but
Well, that's
okay.
for the budget, I think.
Okay, I'll make sure. Don't worry, Adam's name and Chrissy's names are always wrong. Yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, I will have documents ready probably by the end of this week or the beginning of next week. I can overnight them to you. I can overnight them here. That might be easier. You can stop in and sign them.
Here is fine.
Okay. And then I'll give you a return envelope, and you can just send everything back to me. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you. And then, so we can talk about sales tax monitoring for the projects.
Yes, so I sent you all over the summer a proposal from Low-Key Brill. It's the company that you all have chosen to use to engage for, or you've chosen to engage for monitoring local labor monitoring for projects that the IDA does. As I mentioned in the email, one of the other benefits that they offer is that they monitor ST60s, which is the sales tax exemption that projects get as part of working with the IDA. I would like to recommend that we use them for the foundry because I think that it would make the project a lot smoother. It's not a usual project. It's a very large amount. Tracking all of the contractors, making sure that they are in line with what they were supposed to spend and not going above that. You know, that takes a lot of kind of meticulous monitoring, and it's kind of just me. I would feel more comfortable that things would be done properly if it was done by Low-Key Brill. Also, kind of my experience with this developer in the past, everything's kind of like rush at the last second, and I just don't want to be put in a position where I'm being rushed to do something at the last second. For monitoring, to be turning things in on time, to be, you know, looking at their budgets and things like that. This is kind of just like, I send it to Low-Key Brill, it's done, I don't have to think about it, you guys don't have to think about it, it will be done properly. So,
How much it costs?
sure. So,
Did they pay for it, or we paid?
they pay for it. So, for projects that are above 25 million, which I think this project is Foundry, right? 29 million, it's about 1,500 a month. And so, yes.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but part of the reason why we're looking at this is not just this particular project, but it would be an ongoing for all of the future projects? Or
I would love to do that for any future project. It's one less thing to mess up and be looked at and said we did something wrong. So it would be essentially flawless. So it would, you know, we could look at it on a case-by-case basis. Right now, I'm just presenting this to you for the Foundry. When the hotel comes up, we're already engaging them to monitor local labor. If you want to engage them to include the ST60s, we can do that as well. But, you know, they'll monitor them monthly. They will make sure that the forms are filled out properly. There'll be no craziness of how are these forms filled out. At the end of the year, they will submit the forms. I mean, they will, you know, they look at everything.
Does this go on for, like, when do the months start, and how long does it last?
So they've already begun, and I was supposed to have received an Excel spreadsheet from them a while ago, and I haven't. And I just don't want to stress over, you know, asking for it.
So, I mean, on odd to do it on a monthly basis if it's based on a certain sort of set budget. Wouldn't they do it, I mean, cause like how many months do you decide? Cause like the hotel project, that's almost 50 grand if we consider the 30 months, which we're already into. I would think based on the budget, they would say, okay, these are the times that we need monitoring, or these are, we would, you know, kind of like a bank. We need your draws, we need your stuff, and we'll do it based on the size of the project.
Again, I'm guessing because I didn't have that conversation. My only guess could be is that, okay, if a project is within this bracket, you know, normally it requires this amount of work for them as a firm to go back and forth, or the amount of contractors that they would imagine that would be involved. And then if you look at the last page of the proposal, it shows you the rates of the partners, of who is the person doing the work, and they're at different rates. So
I mean, theoretically, we could hire them for the last 2 months, and that, you know, for a $29 million.
well, no, because the ST60 is something that's reported annually. And then, you know, on a monthly basis, their budget should be analyzed to make sure, because in a resolution, you all approved a certain amount, right? So the ST60 monitoring makes sure that they don't go above that amount, and if they're close to that, then this firm would trigger back to me and say, hey, you need to increase that threshold because they're gonna surpass it. And so that, like, level of monitoring isn't something that happens like at the last 2 months of a project. It's something that would need to happen monthly.
And so this happens, we report on this yearly, or we don't report monthly. We report yearly, but they would monitor monthly.
I want to say yes, right? ST60s are a yearly monitoring. And I think at the end, we do a 1, 2, is it a 1, 2, 3?
So there's an annual report that they're required to provide to you, as well as filing with Tax and Finance. And you use that to then report in Paris what the exemptions have been, what exemptions have been utilized to date for that particular project.
Right, so they fill out that paperwork for them, for us, and it's just like, boop, it's sent in. There's no error on their side on what they filled out, no error on our side, and so...
So if that particular project has not filed the quarterly reports that are owed to the agency and the annual report, just confirm that, and I'll send out a nice reminder
Yeah.
letter to their council and to them saying, you need to file these reports.
So why don't they, I don't know, sorry, I don't know why I'm stuck on this monthly thing, but it just seems arbitrary, because like, we do it, you know, like an accountant does a quarterly or annually or like monthly for a project that's maybe straddling different times of it.
I mean, there's about 11 points here in what is entailed in sales tracking proposal. I mean, I could read it out for you guys if, you know, if you want to know why is it what is the big deal about it. Yeah, it's kind of spelled out there.
Does the Foundry already, are they aware that this is an extra cost for them? So have they been informed?
So, 2 things I'll say here. When a project does something with the IDA, which, you know, we want to be good partners, especially to developers in the community. I would never want to spring something on anyone, but they do understand that any cost that we incur in moving the project along, they are responsible. That's an agreement that they sign that's part of their application. However, that said, I did tell the developer, Andrew, that I was considering this. And of course, if you're going to bring this up to a developer, they're going to pause, right? That was during the summer. I still have not received anything back yet. We're in October now. I think I had that conversation in July. So it's just, and even at that time, there was a lot of back and forth of like, how are these forms filled out? Is it right or is it wrong? It's just, this is just eliminates all of that, and it's done properly. And so I don't want to have to chase after somebody to have the reports done when it can just be seamlessly done and effortlessly.
It sounds like they're demonstrating a need to have service anyway, since they haven't gotten the reports to you.
That, and it's their first rodeo, and me as your executive director, I inherited a project that did sales tax reporting in the very beginning, and this is kind of like my first time having to do a deep dive with it too, but, you know, again, if this is something that could be automated, then why not? So, you know, I feel like he's got a lot going on, and I know he's trying the best he can to do it the best he can, but
Who are you talking about?
the Foundry,
Oh, Andrew?
I guess my concern is, to your point, springing either them or, say, the hotel with, I mean, it's, on an open-ended basis, on a monthly basis, it becomes a large cost that they, I mean, obviously on a huge cost, but, you know, it's dollars and cents when it comes to these developments, and an extra $50,000 is an extra $50,000. I would just say, you know, it's almost like requiring an audit or requiring, which is fine, and they know that they have to, you know, that they know that they're obligated. But I would ask if I were on that end of it, I would say, listen, if I'm required to report to you quarterly, I'll pay these guys quarterly. Monthly is an open-ended kind of, you know, when is, you know, which. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong because they get sales. So we charge them for however long they're getting sales tax benefit. I mean, that goes on for a long time, doesn't it? Like, when does this?
whenever they're done buying stuff, that's when.
The sales tax should end when the project is complete.
Yeah, so they've been buying, you've seen the work that's been done there, I haven't gotten anything.
It's, you know, the sales tax exemption extends to the equipment that's being used to construct, but also if they rent something, there's sales tax on that. The fuel that goes in the equipment, that's sales tax, they can exempt that as well. So it's not just the hard wiring of stuff that goes in the building, it's other stuff as well. Every time that they engage a contractor, they're supposed to come to the agency and file an ST-60, unless the agency has appointed them as your agent, which you haven't done. And, you know, I always recommend against that because you lose control. You know, here they're not giving you documents. If you appointed them as the agent, you'd never get anything at all. So here at least, they have to come to you for the ST-60, which allows them to utilize their tax-exempt certificate to the seller of the product so that the seller is not collecting the sales tax. They have an obligation to do a quarterly report and then an annual report, and those are the reports that are really, that should be audited to match up. You know, this is the amount that was requested as the exemption. Was it actually utilized for that purpose?
So what, outside of you doing the work and collaborating with them, basically is it just us working with this tax monitoring company and or you collaborating with?
Me collaborating with Low-Key Bro.
That's it. So then, if there's it is $1,500, you know, like if you actually start doing the math. So then, is there, what about maybe seeing how it works with them first, you know?
Because do we have to send a
Setting
contract
some
with them?
expectations about timeliness, and, you know, I just,
Yeah, or is there a possibility to do it quarterly instead of monthly?
I'll just be honest, that sounds messy. Like,
$1,500 is, I mean, it's just, you know, for an agency that's coming to try to get sales tax benefit from us to then charge them $1,500 a month to get that benefit, you know, it starts to become, I understand, and again, I'm just speaking sort of from the developer side, but, you know, I know a lot of these projects are tight and it's not, you know, just easy to kind of throw around that extra money. I understand the convenience of it, but I also do feel bad about just throwing additional expense at them for the sake of it, or not for the sake of it, but to make it, you know, we both need to cooperate. I think can we talk to them? Can we talk to Low-Key Grill and see if there's something that maybe is,
Instead of belaboring this amongst us, why don't we throw it back to the developer and say, listen, you got to get these reports going, propose how you're going to do that, whether you're doing it internally through your accountant and us reviewing it, or you're going to hire your own service of which you can, you know, provide us with how that service works and how we can know that it's credible. And just,
yeah, can they hire Low-Key Grill? Or do we have to hire them?
He would not do that. I mean, he's already said he doesn't want to, so why would he?
so let's not refer to him to any particular service. Let's just say you have to get this done as part of your agreement with the IDA. Propose to us how you're going to do that, and we can either accept it or not.
And if you don't have a proposal, then
Then
at
we
the
will
next board meeting,
put it on you.
We're gonna,
we are engaging this group,
Right.
and it's gonna cost $1,500 a month, and
So what I'll do is I'll draft up a letter, I'll send it to the executive director to take a look at. That essentially it puts them on notice that they're in default of the agreement, and they have 10 days to correct it.
It's a message.
and if they don't, then we are
And we start
hiring the
recapture,
service,
and
and
we start recapture. If you want to. Or I can add that to the letter.
right,
We'll engage a service that will cost you
It's gonna cost.
$1,500.
I think that's the way to do it. You say, this is the service we're going to engage to fix this issue for you, unless you have a better proposal. But you have until next month to figure it out.
I'll send you a draft in advance.
Yeah, I mean, I also just want to add that you all reviewed companies that do this work with IDAs, right? So this is the company that
We don't have a problem with the
you
company.
chose, and so, you know, to think that he could even, you know, do the work of researching those other companies and, you know, finding it, it's like we have it.
But I would want to be able to, I think I would appreciate the opportunity to reach out to my accountant and say, how can we do this on our end? That way, the IDA has the information they need, we have the information we need, and I don't have to pay 50 grand.
right,
You know, I would want that opportunity to talk to my accountant.
I agree. I would too.
I mean, what we're definitely hearing is that you're not gonna be burdened with that task. I mean, that's, I
Nor
think
should-
we're
nor sh-
supporting you on that level.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, going.
Nor should,
So
nor
we're
should
in
share,
agreement
yeah.
that it needs to be done, and we're just recommending that we kind of put it back to Andrew, is his name? Put it back on Andrew with some stiffer stipulations, you know, like you default if you don't do this, and then we're gonna go get our own person, and this is what it's gonna cost.
I mean, larger IDAs with projects of this size, that have multiple projects of this size going on, have a staff of 2 to 5 people that all they do is sales tax. They're constantly reviewing, constantly
Right,
looking,
that's right.
constantly, that's all they do.
Right.
You know, you know, every project of, and now you have 2 projects that are very large going on at the same time, and you don't have 2 to 5 people looking at it,
No, right,
right?
exactly.
So, you know,
I
there
just
is,
think
there is a
before we
need, but
Spring these on, I mean, if we're gonna do this with the hotel, then I think we notify them now that this is, you know, that this is a potential, or, you know, and maybe they're totally fine with that and they have it in their budget, or maybe, I just think partway through a project to spring additional fees like that, I mean,
so for the hotel, on the labor monitoring, they are aware that there will be a labor monitor.
Yeah.
There's a deposit agreement that's been drafted and set up. They will deposit a set amount that's been proposed by Loki. Your monitor has said, we estimate that the cost of our services for labor monitoring during the duration of the construction will be X. That amount's going into an escrow account that you will establish, and then that way, when Loki's bills come in, You can write the check for them from that account, provide the developer with a copy of everything to make sure they understand what's going on, and at the end of the day, there may be some money left over, in which case you write a check back to the developer if there's anything left.
Can we come up with the same agreement for this ST?
Sure.
Or propose it to them, and if they have a better proposal for it, that does not burden us to that extent, then that's something we'll
You send
consider,
me
but if
Logan's
not, then,
proposal?
this is our proposal.
You may have already, but I, just to make sure I have it. Okay.
Great.
So what's the next step then? We're going to them?
I think it's on to me.
Okay.
To get a letter drafted, and I'll circulate a copy to share for her approval.
Great.
Okay. So, anything in old news, old business? So I don't think we have anything in old business that needs to come up.
Covered everything?
Covered everything, Ms. Chair?
Possibly covered.
Yeah. All right, so then I guess I need a motion to adjourn,
I move we adjourn. Gregory?
and then we need a second.
I will second. Chrissy?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So this,
You want to stay?
Marlon and Adam don't go, we do have checks to sign.
Checks to sign.
But next